Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Ignite podcast. Today you will listen to another story. The story is called The Blue Bicycle. This is a simple but meaningful story about patience, pride, and second chances. Listen carefully, relax, and enjoy the story. Marcus was 71 years old. He lived in a small house at the end of a quiet street. He had a garden. He had a cat. He had a workshop behind his house. In the workshop, there were tools on the wall. There were old radios. There were broken clocks. Marcus liked to fix things. He had fixed things his whole life. He had worked in a factory for 40 years. He knew how machines worked. He knew how metal moved. He knew how to listen to a small sound and understand a big problem. Now Marcus was retired. His days were slow. His days were quiet. Too quiet. His wife had passed many years before. His children lived far away, in another city. They called him sometimes, but not often. Marcus filled his days with small jobs. He fixed his neighbor's fence. He fixed the church clock. He fixed anything that people brought to him. But nobody had brought him anything for 2 weeks. He sat in his workshop and looked at his tools. The tools were clean. The tools were ready. But there was nothing to fix. One afternoon, Marcus heard a sound outside his gate. It was not a loud sound. It was a small, frustrated sound. He walked outside and saw a boy, maybe 12 years old, sitting on the ground next to a bicycle. The bicycle was old. The paint was blue, but the blue was fading. The chain had fallen off. The boy's hands were black with oil. The boy looked up at Marcus. He did not say anything. Marcus did not say anything either. He just walked closer and looked at the chain. "May I help you?" Marcus asked. The boy hesitated. Then he said, "I don't have any money." Marcus smiled a small smile. "I did not ask for money," he said. "I asked if you needed help." The boy's name was Theo. Theo explained that the bicycle had been his father's. His father did not live with them anymore. His mother worked 2 jobs. There was no money for a new bicycle, and no time to fix the old one. Marcus listened. He did not ask more questions. He simply knelt down next to the bicycle and began to work. His hands moved slowly, but they moved with confidence. Click. The chain went back on. "There," Marcus said. "Try it now." Theo pushed the bicycle. The wheels turned smoothly. He looked at Marcus with wide eyes. "How did you do that so fast?" Marcus laughed quietly. "I have had a lot of practice, my friend." "A lot of practice." Theo thanked him and rode away. Marcus watched him go. Then he went back into his quiet house. He expected that to be the end of the story. But it was not. 3 days later, Theo came back. This time, the bicycle was fine. Theo was just walking past. He stopped at the gate and looked into the workshop. "What is that?" Theo asked, pointing at an old radio on the table. "That," said Marcus, "is a radio from 1965. It does not work anymore. Can you fix it? Marcus paused. I do not know, he said honestly. I have not tried yet. Theo stepped closer. Can I watch? Marcus looked at the boy for a long moment. Then he nodded. You can do more than watch, Marcus said. Come here. Hold this. For the next hour, Theo held tools. He handed Marcus small parts. He asked questions. Marcus answered every single one. By the end of the afternoon, the radio made a small crackling sound. Then, slowly, music came through. Theo's face lit up. We did it, he shouted. Marcus smiled, a real smile this time. Yes, he said quietly. We did. After that day, Theo began to visit often. He came after school, 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes he stayed for 10 minutes. Sometimes he stayed for 2 hours. Marcus taught him small things at first. How to hold a screwdriver correctly. How to listen to an engine. How to be patient when something did not work the first time. Fixing things is not about being fast, Marcus told him one afternoon. Fixing things is about being calm. If you rush, you break more than you fix. Theo nodded, though he did not fully understand yet. He would understand later. Marcus also learned things from Theo. He learned that Theo's father had left 2 years before. He learned that Theo missed him, even though he was angry at him too. He learned that Theo was quiet at school, and that other boys sometimes laughed at his old clothes. Marcus never gave big speeches about these things. He simply kept working beside Theo. He simply kept listening. Sometimes, that was enough. One evening, Theo's mother came to find him. Her name was Carla. She looked tired, the way people look when they work too much and sleep too little. She saw her son sitting in an old man's workshop, laughing. She had not heard her son laugh in a long time. I'm sorry, Carla said to Marcus. I hope he is not bothering you. Marcus shook his head firmly. He is not bothering me, he said. He is good company. Better company than I have had in years. Carla did not know what to say. She simply thanked him and took Theo home. But she came back the following week, this time with a small cake, to say thank you properly. Marcus invited her to sit down. For the first time in a long while, 3 people sat together in that small workshop, talking, laughing, sharing tea. Winter came. Marcus began to teach Theo more difficult skills. How to fix a broken hinge. How to repair small electronics. How to solder metal without burning his fingers, most of the time. Theo made mistakes. Many mistakes. He burned a wire once. He broke a small gear. He dropped a screw into a machine and could not find it for an hour. Every time, Marcus stayed calm. Mistakes are not failures, he said. Mistakes are information. They tell you what to try next. Theo began to believe him. Slowly, something changed inside the boy. He stood a little taller. He spoke a little louder. When other boys laughed at him, he did not feel as small as before. He had something they did not have. He had skill. He had a place where he belonged. But not every day was easy for Marcus. Some mornings, he woke up and felt the old, heavy quiet return. He remembered his wife. He remembered his children, so far away. He remembered all the years he had spent alone in that workshop, fixing things that nobody needed fixed. On one of those mornings, Theo arrived and found Marcus sitting very still, staring at an old photograph. "Are you okay?" Theo asked. Marcus did not answer right away. "I miss my wife," he finally said. "Some days, I miss her more than others." Theo did not know what to say. He was only 12. But he did something simple. He sat down next to Marcus. He did not speak. He just sat there, quietly, the way Marcus had once sat quietly beside him. After a few minutes, Marcus placed his hand on Theo's shoulder. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For staying." Spring arrived. The blue bicycle needed new paint. Theo wanted to paint it himself. Marcus showed him how to sand the old paint away, slowly, carefully. He showed him how to choose the right color. He showed him how to apply thin layers, waiting for each one to dry. "Why does it take so long?" Theo asked, impatient. "Because good work always takes longer than you want it to," Marcus said. "But it lasts longer too." Days later, the bicycle was finished. It was still blue, but a brighter blue, a stronger blue than before. Theo stood back and looked at it. "It looks new," he said quietly. "No," Marcus said. "It looks cared for." "That is different. And better." That summer, something unexpected happened. Word spread around the neighborhood about the old man and the boy who could fix almost anything. A woman brought a broken lamp. A young man brought a bicycle with a flat tire. An elderly couple brought a clock that had stopped ticking the day their first grandchild was born. Marcus and Theo worked together, side by side, fixing one thing after another. The quiet workshop was quiet no more. It was full of voices, full of laughter, full of the small satisfying sounds of things being made right again. Marcus had spent years feeling forgotten. Now, his gate never stayed closed for long. One afternoon, Theo's father came to town, unannounced. He wanted to see his son. He wanted, perhaps, to try again. Theo was nervous. He did not know what to feel. He had been angry for so long that he did not know how to be anything else. He went to Marcus's workshop, unsure of what to do. Marcus listened to the whole story. "You do not have to decide today," Marcus told him. "You do not have to forgive quickly, and you do not have to stay angry forever either. Feelings are not machines. They do not fix in one afternoon." Theo thought about this for a long time. "How do you know when you are ready?" he asked. "You do not always know," Marcus admitted. "Sometimes you simply try, a little at a time, and see what happens. Like fixing an old radio. You do not know if it will work again. But you try anyway, because the trying itself has value." Theo nodded slowly. That evening, he agreed to see his father, just for a short walk. It was not perfect. It was not a full repair. But it was a start. And sometimes, a start is everything. Years passed. Theo grew taller. His voice changed. He finished school. He never stopped visiting the workshop. By the time he was 18, he could fix almost anything Marcus could fix, and some things Marcus could not. Marcus grew older too. His hands moved more slowly. His hair turned fully white. But his eyes were brighter than they had been in a very long time. One afternoon, Theo arrived at the workshop and found it different. There was a new sign above the door. It said, "Marcus and Theo Repairs." Marcus was sitting inside, smiling. "I thought," Marcus said, "that it was time to make it official." Theo did not say anything for a moment. His eyes were wet. "I don't know what to say," he finally managed. "You do not need to say anything," Marcus said gently. "Just keep showing up. That has always been enough." That evening, after Theo went home, Marcus sat alone in his workshop. He looked around at the tools on the wall, the same tools that had once felt so useless, so quiet, so unwanted. He thought about the boy who had appeared at his gate, oil on his hands, sitting beside a broken blue bicycle. He thought about how one small act of kindness, one small decision to help instead of walk away, had changed both of their lives completely. Marcus walked outside. The old blue bicycle stood near the gate, exactly where Theo always left it. Marcus touched the handlebar gently. It was not new. It had scratches. It had years on it. But it worked perfectly. And so, in a different way, did he. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing that it is never too late to fix what feels broken, in machines, and in people too. This is English Ignite Podcast. I'm Alex. Bye for now.